Chapter 25. The Twig That Doesn't Break. The forest looms around me, a maze of shadows and whispers. I've been walking for I don't know how long. At this point, I don't even think I care. I'm not even sure where I'm going anymore. Part of me hopes I'm headed towards the border, towards some new adventure that might give me meaning to all of this loss. Another part yearns for the familiar comfort of Takakin, even if it means facing Ekra's wrath. Roan's breath, what I wouldn't give for a map right now. Or better yet, Tornu's uncanny sense of direction. But Tornu's gone, and I'm left fumbling through this green void alone. A twig snaps somewhere behind me, and I whirl around, my hand flying to the obsidian blade at my hip. Nothing, just more trees and shadows. But I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched. Get a grip, Yorin, I mutter to myself, trying to calm my racing heart. You're jumping at shadows again. But am I? Ever since Zolesh and I left the Takakin village, I've had this prickling sensation at the back of my neck, like eyes boring into me. At first I thought it was just paranoia, the trauma of everything that's happened making me jumpy. But now I'm not so sure. I pick up my pace, pushing through a dense patch of undergrowth. Branches whip at my face, leaving stinging trails across my skin. I should probably be more careful, try to move quietly like Zolesh taught me. But right now I just want to put as much distance as possible between me and whatever might be following. As I break through into a small clearing, a thought strikes me. What if it's Zolesh? What if he came to his senses and decided to come back for me? Zolesh? I call out, my voice sounding painfully loud in the quiet forest. Is that you? No answer. Just the rustle of leaves in the wind and the distant call of some bird I don't recognize. Stupid. Of course it's not Zolesh. He made it pretty clear he wanted nothing to do with me anymore. And even if he did change his mind, he wouldn't be skulking around in the shadows. He'd march right up to me and probably smack me upside the head for good measure. So if it's not Zolesh, then who or what is out there? Another snap, this time closer. I spin around, drawing the obsidian blade. My palms are sweaty, making the grip slippery. Who's there? I demand, trying to sound braver than I feel. Show yourself! For a long moment, nothing moves. Then, slowly, a figure steps out from behind a large oak tree. My breath catches in my throat as I raise the blade higher, ready to strike or defend. You? I gasp, recognition dawning as the figure comes into full view. The blade nearly slips from my grasp as shock washes over me. Of all the people I expected to see out here in this Roan-forsaken forest, this was the last one I'd have guessed. How is this even possible? Well, if it isn't the fragile twig, all alone in the big, scary forest. Lolly's voice cuts through the air, dripping with malice. My grip tightens on the obsidian blade, but I can't bring myself to raise it. Not against her. Not after everything. Lolly, I manage to croak out, my throat suddenly dry. Why are you here? She laughs, a harsh, bitter sound that sends chills down my spine. What, you thought picking some plants was gonna fix me? I will say it was quite helpful. It taught me to listen, to observe. She takes a step closer, and I instinctively back away. There's something in her eyes, a cold fury that I've never seen before, not even when she stabbed me. I knew your plans to leave before they were even made solid, she continues, her voice low and dangerous. But above all, it taught me patience. Patience to carefully prune and gather only the usable parts of the herbs, and patience to stalk my enemy until the perfect moment to strike. Roan's breath, what have I gotten myself into? My mind races, trying to make sense of it all. She's been following us this whole time? Through the forest, past the gray-skinned monster, all the way to the Soontak village? Lolly, listen, I start, trying to keep my voice steady. I know we've had our differences, but... Differences? She snarls, cutting me off. You think this is about petty village squabbles? You really are as naive as you look. I swallow hard, acutely aware of how alone we are out here. No Zolesh to back me up, no village elders to intervene. Just me and Lolly, and years of pent-up hatred between us. Then what is it about? I ask, hoping to keep her talking while I try to figure a way out of this. Why follow me all this way? Her eyes narrow, and for a moment I see something flicker behind the anger. Pain? Grief? But it's gone as quickly as it appeared, replaced by that cold, hard fury. You really don't get it, do you? She hisses. You, with your special treatment, your destiny, your fucking promise to Tornu. Did you ever stop to think about the rest of us? The ones left behind to pick up the pieces while you go off chasing glory? Her words burn into me like a forest fire. Is that what she thinks I've been doing? Chasing glory? I want to argue, to explain everything we've been through. The monsters, the devastation, Zolesh's loss. but I can see in her eyes that she's beyond listening. Lolly, please, I try one last time. We don't have to do this. There are bigger threats out there. Those gray-skinned creatures. Shut up! She roars, her hand flying to the knife at her belt. I'm done listening to your excuses. It's time I finally snap you, twig. As she draws her blade, I realize with sickening clarity that this confrontation has been building for years. All the petty fights, the rivalry, the resentment, it was all leading to this moment. I raise the obsidian blade, hating myself for it, but knowing I have no choice. If I want to survive this, if I want any chance of finding out more about the true threats out there, I have to fight. I'm sorry, Lolly, I say softly, falling into a defensive stance. I truly am, but I can't let you do this. Her eyes flash with a mixture of rage and something that might be satisfaction. Finally, she growls. Maybe you'll give me a real fight this time. Lolly strikes first, her knife flashing in the dappled sunlight. I barely manage to deflect it with the obsidian blade, the impact jarring my arm. Roan's breath, she's fast. Faster than I remember. What's wrong, twig? She taunts, circling me like a predator. Thought you'd be better after all your training. I grit my teeth, trying to focus. This isn't like sparring with Zolesh or fighting the gray-skinned beast. This is personal, raw, years of resentment behind every strike. She lunges again, and this time I'm ready. I sidestep, feeling the whoosh of air as her blade passes inches from my face. My counterattack is instinctive, the obsidian blade singing through the air. Lolly barely dodges, her eyes widening in surprise. Not bad, she growls, a hint of respect in her voice, but not good enough. She comes at me in a flurry of strikes, each one faster and more vicious than the last. I parry and dodge, my muscles burning with the effort. Shit, when did she get this good? Lolly, please, I pant, deflecting another blow. We don't have to do this. There are bigger threats out there. Shut up, she snarls, her eyes wild with fury. Always trying to be the hero, aren't you? Well, guess what? When a little girl is born with a good heart, and then everything is taken from her, sometimes just to survive, she has to become the villain. And sometimes the villain wins. She feints left, then drives her knee into my stomach. The air rushes out of me and I stagger back, gasping. Fuck, that hurts, but I can't let her see how much. I straighten up, ignoring the pain. Is that what you think you are? A villain? I spit out. You're just a scared girl lashing out, Lolly. Her face contorts with rage. She charges, swinging wildly. I duck under her arm, pivoting to slash at her side. My blade catches fabric, and I see a line of red bloom on her tunic. First blood to me, but it's not satisfying. It just makes me sick. Lolly hisses in pain, her free hand going to the wound. You'll pay for that, twig, she growls. We circle each other, both breathing hard. I can feel sweat trickling down my back, my muscles trembling with exertion. But I'm not backing down. Not this time. You took everything from me, she hisses, pressing her advantage. My sister, my parents, my future. It's time you paid. I parry her next strike, the impact sending shockwaves up my arm. I didn't take anything, I shout back. Your sister died trying to save my parents. How is that my fault? Because you lived, she screams, her voice cracking with emotion. You lived, and she died, and everything changed. Her next attack catches me off guard. Her knife slices across my cheek, and I feel hot blood trickling down my face. The pain is sharp, immediate, but it's nothing compared to the ache in my chest. I stagger back, my hand going to the wound. When I pull it away, it's red with blood. Is this what you want, Lolly? I ask, holding up my bloodied hand. Will this make you feel better? For a moment, just a moment, I see her hesitate. Then her face hardens once more. It's a start, she growls. She charges again, but this time I'm ready. I sidestep her attack, grabbing her wrist and using her momentum to flip her over my hip. She hits the ground hard, the air rushing out of her lungs. I could end it here, pin her down, disarm her, but as I look at her, sprawled on the forest floor, all I see is that little girl I grew up with. My hesitation costs me. Lolly kicks out, her foot connecting with my knee. Pain explodes through my leg and I stumble. She's on her feet in an instant, her knife flashing towards my throat. I barely get my blade up in time. The clash of bone on stone sends shards of both flying. We're face to face now, our blades locked together, neither of us willing to give an inch. Why won't you just die? She screams, her face inches from mine. I can see the pain in her eyes, the tears mixing with sweat and dirt on her cheeks. Because I'm not your enemy, Lolly, I grit out. I never was. With a roar of frustration, she shoves me back. I stumble, my injured knee nearly giving out. Lolly presses her advantage, her knife a blur of motion. I defend as best I can, but I'm tiring. Each parry is slower than the last. Her blade nicks my arm, then my side. Small wounds, but they add up. Getting tired, Twig? Lolly taunts, but I can hear the exhaustion in her voice, too. We're both running on fumes now, fueled only by adrenaline and years of pent-up emotion. This has to end, one way or another. I see an opening and take it, sweeping Lolly's legs out from under her. She hits the ground hard, but rolls away before I can press my advantage. As she springs back to her feet, I see something in her eyes that gives me pause. Behind the anger, there's pain. Deep, raw pain. Lolly, I say, my voice softer now, I'm sorry. For whatever part I played in your pain, I'm truly sorry. But killing me won't fix anything. For a moment, just a moment, I see her hesitate. Then her face hardens once more. You're right, she growls. But it'll sure as void make me feel better. She charges at me with renewed fury, her knife a blur of motion. I raise my blade to meet hers, knowing that one of us isn't walking away from this fight unscathed. And as our weapons clash once more, I can't help but wonder, is this what Tornu would have wanted for us? Our blades lock again, our faces inches apart. I can see every detail, the flecks of gold in her brown eyes, the scar across her left brow from a childhood accident, the tears mingling with sweat on her cheeks. Lolly, I whisper, please, it doesn't have to be like this. For a heartbeat, I see something flicker in her eyes. Doubt? Regret? But then it's gone, replaced by that cold, hard fury. With a scream of rage, she wrenches her blade free and attacks with renewed vigor. I'm on the defensive now, barely able to keep up with her frenzied assault. Her knife slips past my guard, slicing across my ribs. I gasp in pain, stumbling back. Lolly presses her advantage, her eyes wild with a mixture of triumph and desperation. This ends now, Twig, she snarls, raising her knife for the killing blow. Time seems to slow. I can see the blade descending, know that I won't be able to block it in time. Is this how it ends? After everything I've survived, I die here at the hands of someone I once considered a friend? And then I hear it. A whisper so faint I might have imagined it. But I know this voice. I've heard it before, in moments of desperation. Weka's voice. El, Endil, Impt, Spakt! The words form on my lips without conscious thought. Though I don't know their meaning, this time at least I grasp the sounds. As I speak them, a blinding light erupts from my outstretched hands. Lolly screams, a sound of pure agony that chills me to the bone. She staggers back, clawing at her eyes. What the fuck was that? I can't see! She shrieks, her voice raw with panic. What did you do to me? I can't fucking see! I stand there, panting, my own eyes wide with shock. What did I just do? The light fades, leaving spots dancing in my vision. But Lolly is stumbling around in panic. Lolly, I say, my voice shaking. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to... But she's beyond hearing me now. She swings her knife wildly, her movements frantic and uncoordinated. I'll kill you! She screams. I'll fucking kill you! I back away, my heart pounding. What have I done? Pilly's touch, how do I fix this? Lolly, following the sound of my movements, charges towards me with reckless abandon. I brace myself for the impact, for the bite of her blade, but it never comes. Instead, there's a sickening thud. Lolly's face contorts in shock, her mouth forming a perfect O of surprise. She looks down, and I follow her gaze to see a spear protruding from her chest. Lolly crumples to the ground, her knife falling from limp fingers. I catch her instinctively, lowering her gently. Her eyes search desperately, completely glossed over with a sickening white film, filled with confusion and pain. Yorin? She whispers, blood bubbling at the corners of her mouth. I don't... And then she's gone. Just like that. The girl I grew up with, the woman who hated me, one of the many threats I've been running from. All of it extinguished in an instant. I should feel relieved. She was trying to kill me after all. But all I feel is a hollow ache in my chest. Another life lost. Another failure to add to my growing list. Slowly, I turn to face whoever threw the spear. My breath catches in my throat as I take in the sight before me. Standing at the edge of the clearing is a small group of creatures I've never seen before. Their upper bodies are human-like, muscular and adorned with intricate silvery tattoos. But where legs should be, they have the powerful, sleek bodies of horses. Their faces are a strange blend of human and equine features, with large, intelligent eyes that seem to look right through me. As I stare slack-jawed at these impossible beings, one thought rises above the chaos in my mind. What the fuck have I gotten myself into now?